Do you guys like horror movies? Well, I guess not. But if you did, I tell you to head over to iTunes and check out the newest podcast from the NerdSloth Network, Night Marathon, where me and my co-host Joseph Lambert unload all our thoughts on the latest and greatest horror flicks, as well as the classics. And the not-so-classics. In fact, we really have no standards at all. Scary films not your thing? What about cartoons? Yeah, you know you like cartoons. Get over to iTunes now and listen to Saturday Morning Cartoon Boom, where we review all your favorite cartoons, both old and new. Yeah, I ran that on purpose. Shut up. Let's get on with the episode.
What are you on about?
Because you're listening to Know the Lore on the NerdSloth Podcast Network. Hey there, Overwatch fans, and hopefully fans of this podcast. Maybe? I mean, you're listening to this, right? Okay, moving on. Blizzcon 2017 has come and gone, and with it, the next Overwatch hero has arrived, and that is Moira. What's interesting about the development of this character is that it seems to be somewhat developed by the fans, as she's built with many of the features that fans have been asking for on Reddit for quite a while. It could just be a coincidence, but it looks like Blizzard has actually been paying attention. So let's get into what we're all here for, the lore. So let's see if I can pronounce this right. Moira O'Diarran is a brilliant genetic engineer hailing from Dublin, Ireland, who seeks the truth of life's potential through science and by any means necessary. Because of her no-limits attitude, she was able to develop a method of genetic programming that could alter DNA at the cellular level, which could potentially be used for not only treating, but eliminating disease and disorders, and additionally maximizing the human potential. However, when she published a paper on her findings a little over a decade ago, she was highly criticized for her lack of ethics in regards to her methods. Several of her peers also attempted to reproduce Moira's work and found themselves unable to do so, which called her discoveries further into question. This controversy irreparably damaged her career, and the peacekeeping organization of Overwatch actually helped to shut her down. But, lucky for Moira, someone from a morally ambiguous branch of Overwatch was keeping tabs on her work. Therefore, Gabriel Reyes inducted Moira into Overwatch, keeping her employment largely a secret as she developed weapons and new technologies for their use. Among these new technologies included genetic experimentation, and although in the past it had been highly hinted that Mercy may have been partly responsible for Rhea's transformation into Reaper, signs now seem to point to Moira being the one to at least begin his transformation. At some point during her experiments, Moira also either experimented on herself or may have been contaminated during a trial with Reaper, which infected her right arm in a similar way to Reyes' body. This caused her arm to mutate, becoming pale with dark protruding veins, which kind of makes you wonder what Reaper looks like under that mask. Probably not pretty. For those that are already familiar with the lore of Overwatch, you know that the organization began experiencing a large amount of criticism from the public as well as governments from around the globe. The activities of Blackwatch had a lot to do with the accusations Overwatch faced, and the discovery of Moira's employment was actually one of the large points of contention once it came to light. However, all the top heads in Overwatch said they had no knowledge of Moira's employment, and after her dismissal and the fall of Overwatch itself, Moira's brilliant mind was finally recognized by some in the scientific community. She was then given a home in the scientific collective that founded the city of Oasis within Iraq, of whom Satyana Vaswani, aka Symmetra, is also a member. It's here in Oasis that Moira helps lead the collective as the Minister of Genetics. However, Oasis isn't Moira's only allegiance. As it's speculated, the terrorist organization of Talon most likely formed out of Blackwatch, and Moira may have been instrumental in its development. Within the game, if you happen to be on a team with both Reaper and Sombra, who are both members of Talon, in the starting area of Oasis, you may hear an exchange where Sombra asks what they're doing here. Reaper's response is that he needs to pay a visit to a friend. If that isn't enough proof, there's one extremely solid piece of evidence that absolutely ties her to the Talon organization. In fact, this piece of evidence comes before her announcement at BlizzCon 2017. In the Overwatch comic Masquerade, which largely features Doomfist, we're introduced to the notion that Talon is led by a council rather than one singular person. We come to see the council members of Talon sitting around a table during a meeting. These members consist of Doomfist, Reaper, the Omnic known as Maximilian, Sanjay Korpal of the Vishkar Corporation, and last but not least, Moira. So there you have it. That's all we know about Moira at the moment, and I'm sure more information will come available in the next several months. But if you enjoyed this episode, please let me know on Twitter at Slurrednerd or on our network account at NerdSloth. You can also go to nerdsloth.com and send an email. And real quick, a great big thank you to everyone that's been messaging me over the PlayStation Network. You've all been really awesome. I'm sorry that I haven't been on that much lately, but it's because of all the shows that I'm doing, which you heard about at the beginning of this episode. So hopefully you'll forgive me. As far as releasing more episodes of Know the Lore, there's lots of small bits of information being added about various characters, as well as the organizations and the cities and locations within the world of Overwatch. So, if there is a specific topic you would like me to cover, or if you have any suggestions or questions, please let me know, and if we receive enough, we will put together another episode on those suggestions. Otherwise, you'll hear from me again once the next character or big update drops. Just remember,
stupidity is not alright.
Chris here. If you enjoy the show, please rate, like, subscribe, comment, or share, as every little bit you do helps the show. Know the Lore is recorded and produced by NerdSloth. More episodes can be found at nerdsloth.com along with our other awesomely nerdy shows. Search for NerdSloth on social media such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Music heard during the show is the Overwatch Victory theme remixed by DJ Effiksha. Go to effiksha.com to hear more.